Yes, ma'am?
Shh. Will you go down and buy 2 for us, Elizabeth?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
What are you doing, Bella?
Nothing, dear. Don't wake yourself.
What are you doing, Bella? Come here.
Only for tea, my dear. Muffins for tea.
Muffins, eh?
Yes, dear. He only comes so seldom. I thought I might surprise you.
Why are you so apprehensive, Bella? I was not about to approach you.
No, dear. I know you weren't.
This fire's in ashes. Ring the bell, will you, Bella, dear, please?
Oh, yes. Is it merely to put coal on, my dear? I can do that.
Now then, Bella, we've had this out before. Be so good as to ring the bell.
But, dear, Lizzie's out in the street. Let me do it. I can do it so easily.
No. Where's the girl? Let the girl come up if Lizzie's out.
Oh, but, my dear...
Go and ring the bell, please, Bella. There's a good child. What do you suppose the servants are for, Bella? Go on. Answer me. What do you suppose servants are for?
To serve us, I suppose, Jack.
Precisely. Then why
But
are
I think we should consider them a little, that's all.
Consider them? There's your extraordinary confusion of the mind again. You speak as though they work for no consideration. I happen to consider Elizabeth to the tune of £16 per annum, and the girl £26 a year, all told. And if that is not consideration of the most acute and lively kind, I should like to know what is.
Yes, Jack, I expect you are right.
I have no doubt of it, my dear. It's sheer weak-mindedness to think otherwise. What's the weather doing? Is it still as yellow?
Yes, it seems to be denser than ever. Shall you be going out in this, Jack, dear?
Oh, I expect so. Unless it gets much worse after tea. Come in.
Oh, I beg your pardon. I thought the bell rang.
Yes, we rang the bell, Nancy. Go on, my dear. Tell her why we rang the bell.
Oh, yes. We want to put some coal on the fire, Nancy. Please.
And you might as well light the gas, Nancy. This darkness in the afternoon is getting beyond endurance.
Yes, sir.
You're looking very impudent and pretty this afternoon, Nancy. Do you know that?
I don't know that at all, sir, I'm sure.
What is it? Another broken heart added to your list?
I wasn't aware of breaking any hearts, sir.
I'm sure that's not true. And that complexion of yours, that's not true either. I wonder what mysterious lotions you've been employing to enhance your natural beauties.
I'm quite natural, sir, I promise you.
But you do it adroitly, I grant you that. What are your secrets? Won't you tell us the name of your chemist? Perhaps you could pass it on to Mrs. Manningham and help banish her pallor. She'll be most grateful, I have no doubt.
I'd be most happy to, I'm sure, sir.
Or are women too jealous of their discoveries to pass them on to a rival?
I don't know, sir. Will that be all you're wanting, sir?
Yes, that's all I want, Nancy. Except my tea.
I'll be coming directly, sir.
Oh, Jack, how can you treat me like that?
But, my dear, you're the mistress of the house. It was your business to tell her to put the coal on.
It isn't that. It's humiliating me like that, as though I'd do anything to my face, and ask her for assistance if I did.
But you seem to look upon the servants as our natural equals, so I treated her as one. Besides, I was only trifling with her.
It's strange that you can't see how you hurt me. That girl laughs at me enough already.
Laughs at you? What an idea! What makes you think she laughs at you?
Oh, I know she does in secret. In fact, she does so openly, more openly every day.
But, my dear, if she does that, doesn't the fault lie with you?
You mean that I am a laughable person?
I don't mean anything. It's you who read meaning into everything, Bella, dear. Oh, I wish you weren't such a perfect little silly. Come here and stop it. I've just thought of something rather nice.
Something nice? What have you thought of, Jack?
I shan't tell you unless you come here.
What is it, Jack? What have you thought of?
I read that Mr. Macnaughton, the celebrated actor, is in London for another season.
Yes, I read that. What of it, Jack?
What of it? What do you suppose?
Oh, Jack, dear. Do you mean it? Would you take me to see Macnaughton, would you?
I not only would take you to see Macnaughton, my dear, I am going to take you to see Macnaughton. That is, if you want to go.
Oh, Jack! What heaven! What heaven!
When would you like to go? You have only 3 weeks according to the advertisement.
Oh, what perfect heaven! Let me see, do let me see.
There. You see? You can see him in comedy or tragedy, according to your choice. Which would you prefer, Bella, the comedy or the tragedy?
Oh, it's so hard to say. Either would be equally wonderful. Which would you choose if you were me?
Well, it depends, doesn't it? Upon whether you want to laugh or whether you want to cry.
Oh, I want to laugh. But then I should like to cry too. In fact, I should like to do both. Oh, Jack, what made you decide to take me?
Well, my dear, you've been very good lately, and I thought it would be well to take you out of yourself.
Oh, Jack, dear, you have been so much kinder lately. Is it possible you're beginning to see my point of view?
I don't know that I ever differed from it, did I, Bella?
Oh, Jack, dear, it's true. It's true. All I need is to be taken out of myself, some little changes, to have some attention from you. Oh, Jack, I'd be better. I could really try to be better. You know in what way. If only I could get out of myself a little more.
How do you mean, my dear, exactly? Better?
You know. You know in what way, dear, about all that's happened lately. We said we wouldn't speak about it.
Oh, no, don't let's speak about that.
No, dear, I don't want to. But what I say is so important. I have been better, even in the last week. Haven't you noticed it? And why is it? Because you have stayed in and been kind to me. The other night when you stayed in and played cards with me, it was like the old days, and I went to bed feeling a normal, happy, healthy human being. And then the day after, when you read your book to me, Jack, and we sat by the fire, I felt all my love for you coming back then, Jack, and I slept that night like a child. All these ghastly dreads and terrible, terrible fears seemed to have vanished, and all just because you had given me your time and taken me from brooding on myself in this house all day and night.
I wonder if it is that, or whether it's merely that your medicine is beginning to benefit you.
No, Jack dear, it's not my medicine. I've taken my medicine religiously. Haven't I taken it religiously? Much as I detest it. It's more than medicine that I want. It's the medicine of a sweet, sane mind, of being interested in something. Don't you see what I mean?
Well, we are talking about gloomy subjects, aren't we?
Oh, yes, I don't want to be gloomy, dear. That's the last thing I want to be. I only want you to understand. Say you understand.
Well, dear, don't I seem to? Haven't I just said I'm taking you to the theatre?
Yes, dear. Yes, you have. Oh, and you've made me so happy, dear.
Well, then, which is it to be? The comedy or the tragedy? You must make up your mind.
Oh, Jack, which shall it be? Which shall it be? Oh, it matters so little. Do you understand that, my husband? I'm going to the play. Come in. No, Nancy, I think we'll have it on the table today.
Oh, just as you wish, madam.
Tell me, Nancy, if you were being taken to the play and had to choose between comedy and tragedy, which would you choose?
Me, madam? Oh, I'd go for comedy all the time.
Would you? Why would you choose comedy, Nancy?
I like to laugh, madam, I suppose.
Do you? Well, I dare say you're right. I must bear it in mind. Mr. Manningham's taking me next week, you see.
Oh, yes. I hope you enjoy it. I'll bring the muffins out directly.
My dear, what are you doing?
The little beast. Let her put that in her pipe and smoke it.
But what has she done?
Ah, you don't know her. She tries to torment and score off me all day long. You don't see these things. A man wouldn't. She thinks me a poor thing. And now she can suffer the news that you're taking me to the theatre.
I think you imagine things, my dear.
Oh, no, I don't. We've been too familiar with her. Oh, come along, my dear. You sit one side and I the other, like two children in the nursery.
You seem wonderfully pleased with yourself, Bella. I must take you to the theatre more often, if this is the result.
Oh, Jack, I wish you could.
I don't really know why we shouldn't. I used to like nothing so much when I was a boy. In fact, you may hardly believe it, but I even had an ambition to be an actor myself at one time.
I can well believe it, dear. Come along to your tea now.
You know, Bella, that must be a very superb sensation, to take a part and lose yourself entirely in the character of someone else. I flatter myself I could have made an actor.
Why, of course, my dear. You were cut out for it. Anyone can see that.
No. You think so? Seriously? I always felt a faint tinge of regret. Of course, one would have required training, but I believe I should have made out. I might have reached the top of the tree for all I know. To be or not to be, that is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles, and by opposing, end them.
Oh, you see how fine your voice is. Oh, you've made a great mistake.
I wonder.
Then, if you had been a famous actor, I should have had a free seat to come and watch you every night of my life, and then called for you at the stage door afterwards. Wouldn't that have been paradise?
A paradise of which you would soon tire, my dear. I have no doubt that after a few nights you would be staying at home again, just as you do now.
Oh, no, I wouldn't. I should have to keep my eye on you for all the hussies that would be after you.
There would be hussies after me, would there? That is an added inducement, then.
Oh, yes, I know it, you wretch. But you wouldn't escape me. Oh, these muffins look delicious. Aren't you glad I thought of them? Here's some salt. You want heaps of it. Oh, Jack, dear, you must forgive me chattering on like this, but I feel so happy.
I can see that, my dear.
I'm being taken to the play, you see. Here you are. I used to adore these as a child, didn't you? I wonder how long it is since we had them. We haven't had them since we've been married, anyway. Or have we? Have we?
I don't know, I'm sure. I don't know. Bella?
What is it? What's the matter? What is it now?
I have no desire to upset you, Bella, but I have just observed something very much amiss. Will you please rectify it at once while I'm not looking, and we will assume that it has not happened.
Amiss? What's amiss? Oh, for God's sake, don't turn your back on me. What has happened?
You know perfectly well what has happened, Bella, and you will rectify it at once, and I will say no more about it.
I don't know. I don't know. You have left your tea. Tell me what it is. Tell me.
Are you trying to make a fool of me, Bella? What I refer to you is on the wall behind you. If you will put it back, I will forget the matter.
The wall behind me? What? Oh, yes. The picture has been taken down. Yes, the pictures. Well, who has taken it down? Why has it been taken down?
Yes. Why has it been taken down? Why indeed? You alone can answer that, Bella. Why was it taken down before? Will you please take it from wherever you have hidden it and put it back on the wall again?
Oh, but I haven't hidden it, Jack. I didn't do it. Oh, for God's sake, look at me. I didn't do it. I don't know where it is. Someone else must have done it.
Someone else? Are you suggesting that I should play such a fantastic and wicked trick?
No, dear, no, but someone else. Before God, I didn't do it. Someone else, dear, someone else.
Someone else, eh? Someone else? Will you leave go of me? You repel me, you half-witted thing! We will see about someone else.
Oh, Jack, don't ring the bell. Don't ring it. Don't call the servants to witness my shame. Oh, it's not my shame, for I haven't done it. But don't call the servants. Tell them not to come. Let's talk of this between ourselves. Don't call that girl in, please.
Will you leave go of me and sit down there? Someone else, eh? Well, we shall see. You had better pull yourself together, hadn't you? Come in. Ah, Elizabeth. Do you notice anything amiss in this room? Look carefully around the walls and see if you notice anything amiss. Well, Elizabeth, what do you notice?
Nothing, sir. Except the picture's been taken down.
Exactly. The picture has been taken down. You noticed it at once. Now, was that picture in its place when you dusted the room this morning?
Yes, sir. It was, sir. I don't understand, sir.
Neither do I, Elizabeth. Neither do I. And now, before you go, just one question. Was it you who removed that picture, Elizabeth?
No, sir. Of course I ain't, sir.
You did not. And have you ever, at any time, removed that picture from its proper place?
No, sir. Never, sir. Why should I, sir?
Indeed, why should you? And now, please, will you kiss that Bible which lies on that desk there, as a token of your truthfulness? Very well, you may go. And please send Nancy in here at once.
Yes, sir.
Oh, Jack, spare me that girl. Don't call her in. I'll say anything. I'll say that I did it. I did it, Jack. I did it. Oh, don't have that girl in. Don't.
Will you have the goodness to contain yourself? Come in.
Yes, sir. Did you want me?
Yes, I do want you, Nancy. If you will look at the wall on your left, you will see that the picture has gone.
Oh, my word, so it has. What a rum go.
I did not ask for any comment on your part, Nancy. Kindly be less insolent and answer what I ask you. Did you take that picture down, or did you not?
Me? Of course I didn't. What should I want to move it for, sir?
Very good. Now, will you kiss that Bible lying there, please, as a solemn oath that you did not, and you may go.
Willingly, sir. If I'd have done it,
That is all, Nancy. You may go. There. I think we may now be said to have demonstrated conclusively...
Give me that Bible. Give it to me. Let me kiss it too. There. There. Do you see? There. Do you see that I kiss it?
For God's sake, be careful what you do. Do you desire to commit sacrilege above all else?
It is no sacrilege, Jack. Someone else has committed sacrilege. Now, see, I swear before God Almighty that I never touch that picture. There.
Then, by God, you are mad. And you don't know what you do. You unhappy wretch. You're stark, gibbering mad like your wretched mother before you.
Oh, Jack, you promised you would never say that again.
The time has come to face facts, Bella. If this progresses, you will not be much longer under my protection.
Jack, I'm going to make a last appeal to you. I'm going to make a last appeal. I'm desperate, Jack. Can't you see that I'm desperate? If you can't, you must have a heart of stone.
Go on. What do you wish to say?
Jack, I may be going mad, like my poor mother. But if I am mad, you have to treat me gently. Jack, before God, I never lie to you knowingly. If I have taken down that picture, I have not known it. I have not known it. If I took it down on those other occasions, I did not know it either. Jack, if I steal your things, your rings, your keys, your pencils, and your handkerchiefs, and you find them later at the bottom of my box, as indeed you do, then I do not know that I have done it. Jack, if I commit these fantastic, meaningless mischiefs, so meaningless, why should I take a picture down from its place? If I do all these things, then I am certainly going off my head and must be treated kindly and gently so that I may get well. Oh, you must bear with me, Jack. Bear with me. Not storm and rage. God knows I'm trying, Jack. I'm trying. Oh, for God's sake, believe that I'm trying and be kind to me.
Bella, my dear, have you any idea where that picture is now?
Why, yes, I suppose it is behind the cupboard.
Will you please go and see?
Yes. Yes. Yes, it's here.
Then you did know where it was, Bella. You did know where it was.
No! I only supposed it was. I only supposed it was because it was found there before. It was found there twice before. Don't you see? I didn't know. I didn't.
There is no sense walking about the room with a picture in your hand, Bella. Go and put it back in its proper place.
Oh, look at our tea. We were having our tea with muffins.
Now, Bella, I said a moment ago that we've got to face facts. And that is what we've got to do. I'm not going to say anything at the moment, for my feelings are running too high. In fact, I'm going out immediately, and I suggest that you go to your room and lie down a little in the dark.
Oh, no, not to my room. For God's sake, don't send me to my room.
There is no question of sending you to your room, Bella. You know perfectly well that you may do exactly as you please. Everything
I feel faint, Jack. I feel faint.
Very well. Now, take things quietly and come and sit down. Where are your salts? Here they are. Now, my dear, I'm going to leave you in peace.
Have you got to go? Must you go? Must you always leave me alone after these dreadful scenes?
No argument, please. I had to go in any case after tea, and I'm merely leaving a little earlier, that's all. Now, is there anything I can get for you?
No, Jack dear, nothing. You go.
Very good. Oh, by the way, I shall be passing the grocer, and I might as well pay that bill of his and get it done with. Where is it, my dear? I gave it to you, didn't I?
Yes, dear, it's on the desk. I'll get
No, dear, don't move. I can find it. I shall be glad to get the thing off my chest. Where is it, dear? Is it in one of these drawers?
No, it's on the top. I put it there this afternoon.
All right. We'll find it. Are you sure it's here, dear? There's nothing here except writing paper.
Oh, Jack, I'm quite sure it is there. Will you look carefully?
All right, dear. Don't worry. Lie down. It's of no importance. We'll find it. No. It's not here. It must be in one of the drawers.
No, it's not in one of the drawers. I put it here on the top. Oh, you're not going to tell me
My
this
dear,
is
calm
gone,
yourself,
are you?
calm yourself.
Oh, I laid it out here myself. Where is it? Oh, where is it? Oh, now you're going to say that I've hidden this.
My God, what new trick is this you're playing upon me?
Oh, it was there this afternoon. I put it there. This is a plot. This is a filthy plot. You're all against me. It's a plot.
Will you control yourself? Will you control yourself? Listen to me, madam. If you utter another sound, I'll knock you down and take you to your room and lock you in darkness for a week. I have been too lenient with you, and I mean to alter my tactics.
Oh, God help me. God help me.
May God help you indeed. Now listen to me. I am going to leave until 10 o'clock. In that time, you will recover that paper and admit to me that you have been lying and purposely concealed it. If not, you will take the consequences. You are going to see a doctor, madam. More than one doctor, and they shall decide what this means. Now, do you understand me?
Oh, God, be patient with me. If I am mad, be patient with me.
I have been patient with you and controlled myself long enough. It is now for you to control yourself or to take the consequences. Think upon that, Bella.
Jack, don't go, Jack. You're still going to take me to the theatre, aren't you?
What a question to ask me at such a time. No, madam, emphatically I am not. You play fair by me, and I'll play fair by you. If we are going to be enemies, you and I, you will find it is I who shall get the best of it.
God have mercy on me. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, for thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Peace, peace, peace.
Madam! Madam!
Yes, what is it, Elizabeth? Leave me alone.
Madam, there's somebody called.
Oh, who is it? I don't want to be disturbed.
It's a gentleman, madam. He wants to see you.
Oh, tell him to go, Elizabeth. He wants to see my husband. My husband's out.
No, madam. He wants to see you. You must see him, madam.
Oh, leave me alone. Tell him to go away. I want to be left alone.
Madam, I don't know what's going on between you and the master, but you've got to hold up, madam. You've got to hold up.
Oh, I'm going out of my mind, Elizabeth. That's what's going on.
Don't talk like that, madam. You've got to be brave. You mustn't go on lying here in the dark, or your mind will go. You must see this gentleman. It's you he wants to see, not the master. He's waiting below. Come, madam. It will take you out of yourself.
Oh, my God. What new torment is this? I'm not in a fit state, I tell you.
Come, madam. I'll turn up the light. There. Now you'll be all right.
Oh, Elizabeth, what have you done? I can't have anyone in. I'm not fit to be seen.
You look all right, madam. You mustn't take on so. Now, I'll call him up. Will you come up, please, sir?
Thank you. Oh, good evening, Mrs. Manningham, I believe. How are you, Mrs. Manningham?
How do you do? I'm very much afraid
You're very much afraid you don't know me from Adam. That's about the root of the matter, isn't it?
No, it's not that. But no doubt you have come to see my husband.
Oh, no. You couldn't be further out. On the contrary, I have chosen this precise moment to call when I knew your husband was out. May I take off my things and sit down?
Why, yes, I suppose you may.
You're a good deal younger and more attractive than I thought, you know. But you're looking very pale. Have you been crying?
Really, I'm afraid I don't understand at all.
You will do so, madam, very shortly. You're the lady who's going off her head, aren't you?
What made you say that? Who are you? What have you come to talk about?
Well, of one thing you can be certain. I have not come to talk about the weather. Though that indeed merits a world of comment at the moment. But you're running away with things, Mrs. Manningham, and asking me a good deal I can't answer at once. Instead of that, I'm going to ask you a question or two. Now, please, will you come here and give me your hands? Now, Mrs. Manningham, I want you to take a good look at me and see if you are not looking at someone to whom you can give your trust. I am a perfect stranger to you, and you can read little in my face besides that. But I can read a great deal in yours.
What? What can you read in mine?
Why, madam, I can read the tokens of one who has travelled a very long way upon the path of sorrow and doubt, and will have, I fear, to travel a little further before she comes to the end. But I fancy she is coming towards the end for all that. Come now. Are you going to trust me and listen to me? I'm old enough to be your grandfather.
Who are you? God knows I need help.
I very much doubt whether God knows anything of the sort, Mrs. Manningham. Had he done so, I believe he would have come to your aid before this, but I am here, and so you must give me your faith.
Who are you? Are you a doctor?
Oh, nothing so learned, ma'am. Just a plain police detective.
Police detective?
Yes, or was 10 years ago. At any rate, still detective enough to see that you've been interrupted in your tea. Couldn't you start again and let me have a cup?
Why, yes. Yes, I will give you a cup. It only wants water.
You never heard of the celebrated Sergeant Ruff, madam? Sergeant Ruff, who solved the Claudesley diamond case. Sergeant Ruff, who hunted down the Camberwell dogs. Sergeant Ruff, who brought Sandham himself to justice. Or were all such sensations before your time?
Sandham? Why, yes, I have heard of Sandham. The murderer, the throttler.
Yes, madam, Sandham the throttler. And you are now looking at the man who gave Sandham to the man who throttled him. And that was the common hangman. In fact, Mrs. Manningham, you have in front of you one who was quite a personage in his day, believe it or not.
I quite believe it. Won't you sit down? I'm afraid it won't be very hot.
Thank you. How long have you been married, Mrs. Manningham?
7 years, and a little.
Where have you lived during all that time, Mrs. Manningham?
Why, first we went abroad, then we lived in Yorkshire, and then 6 months ago my husband took this house.
Oh, thank you. And does your husband always leave you alone like this in the evenings?
Yes. He goes to his club, I believe, and does business.
So you believe?
Yes.
And does your husband give you a free run of the whole house while he's out?
Yes. Well, no, not the top floor. Why do you ask?
Not the top floor.
No. Will you have some sugar? What were you saying?
Before I go any further, Mrs. Manningham, I must tell you there's a leakage in this household. You have a maid called Nancy?
Yes.
And Nancy walks out of an evening with a young man named Booker in my employ. I only live a few streets away from you, you know.
Oh, yes?
Well, there is hardly anything which goes on in this house which is not described in detail to Booker, and from that quarter it reaches me.
Oh, I knew it! I knew she talked! Now I know it, she shall be dismissed.
Oh, no. No such retribution is going to overtake her at the moment, Mrs. Manningham. In fact, I fancy you are going to be heavily in debt to your maid Nancy. If it were not for her indiscretions, I should not be here now, should I?
What do you mean? What is this mystery? You must not keep me in the dark. What is it?
I'm afraid I shall have to keep you in the dark for a little, Mrs. Manningham, as I'm still quite far down in the dark myself. Can I have another lump of sugar in this?
Oh, yes.
Thank you. We were talking about the top floor. There is a bedroom above this, and above that again is the top floor, is that right?
Yes.
Now, have you ever been up to that top floor?
No. Never. It's shut up. My husband has forbidden it. No one goes up there.
Not even a servant to dust?
No.
Rather funny.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
Yes. Now, Mrs. Manningham, to ask a personal question, when did you first get the notion into your head that your reason was playing you tricks?
How did you know?
Never mind how I know. How did it begin?
I always had that dread. My mother died insane when she was quite young, when she was my age. But only in the last 6 months, in this house, things began to happen.
Which are driving you mad with fear?
Yes, which are driving me mad with fear.
Is it the house itself you fear, Mrs. Manningham?
Yes, I suppose it is. I hate the house. I always did.
And has the top floor got anything to do with it?
Yes, it has. How did you know? That's how all of this dreadful horror began.
And now you interest me beyond measure. Do tell me about the top floor.
I don't know what to say. It all sounds incredible. It's when I'm alone at night.
Mm-hmm.
I get the idea that somebody's walking about up there. Up there. At night, when my husband's out, I hear noises from my bedroom, but I'm too afraid to go up.
Have you told your husband about this?
No, I'm afraid to. He gets angry. He says I imagine things which don't exist.
It never struck you, did it, that it might be your own husband walking about up there?
Yes, that is what I thought. But I thought I must be mad. Tell me how you knew.
Why not tell me first how you knew, Mrs. Manningham?
Oh, it's true, then. I knew it. I knew it. When he leaves this house, he comes back. He comes back and walks up there above, up and down, up and down. He comes back like a ghost. How does he get up there?
That's what we're going to find out, Mrs. Manningham. But there are such commonplace resources as roofs and fire escapes, you know. Now, please don't look frightened. Your husband is no ghost, believe me. And you are very far from mad. Tell me now, what made you first think it was him?
It was the light. The gaslight. It went down and it went up. Oh, thank God I can tell this to someone at last. I don't know who you are, but I must tell you.
Now, try to keep calm. You can tell me just as well sitting down, can't you? Won't you sit down?
Yes.
The light, did you say? Did you see a light from a window?
No. In this house. I can tell everything by the light of the gas. You see that mantle there? Now it's burning full. But if an extra light went on in the kitchen or someone lit it in the bedroom, then this one would sink down. It's the same all over the house.
Yes, that's just a question of insufficient pressure. And it's the same in mine. But go on, please.
Every night, after he goes out, I find myself waiting for something. Then all at once I look round the room and see that the light is slowly going down. At first I tried not to notice it, but after a time it began to get on my nerves. I would go all over the house to see if anyone had put on an extra light, but they never had. It's always the same time, about 10 minutes after he goes out. That's what made me think that somehow he had come back and it was he who was walking about up there. I go up to the bedroom, but I don't stay there because I hear noises overhead. I want to scream and run out of the house. I sit here for hours, terrified, waiting for him to come back, and I always know when he's coming again. Suddenly, the light goes up again, and 10 minutes afterwards I hear his key in the lock downstairs, and he's back again.
Very strange indeed. You know, Mrs. Manningham, you should have been a policeman.
Are you laughing at me? Do you think I imagine everything too?
Oh, no. I was merely praising the keenness of your observation. I not only think you are right in your supposition, I think you have made a very remarkable discovery, and one which may have very far-reaching consequences.
Far-reaching? How?
Well, let's leave it for the moment. Tell me, that is not the only cause, is it, which has lately given you reason to doubt your sanity? Has anything else been happening? Don't be afraid to tell me.
Yes, there are other things. I hardly dare speak of them. It has been going on for so long. This business of the gas has only brought it to a head. It seems that my mind and memory are beginning to play me tricks.
Tricks? What sort of tricks? When?
Incessantly, but more and more of late. He gives me things to look after, and when he asks for them, they are gone and can never be found. Then he misses his rings or his studs or his razors, and I will hunt the place for them, and he will find them lying hidden at the bottom of my workbox. Twice the door of that room was found locked with the key vanished. That was also found at the bottom of my box. Only today, before you came, that picture had been taken from the wall and hidden. Who could have done it but myself? I try to remember. I break my heart trying to remember, but I can't. Oh, and then there was that terrible business about the dog.
The dog?
We have a little dog. A few weeks ago, it was found with its paw hurt. He believes... Oh, God, how can I tell you what he believes? That I had hurt the dog. He does not let the dog near me now. He keeps it in the kitchen, and I am not allowed to see it. I begin to doubt, don't you see? I begin to believe, I imagine everything. Or perhaps I do. Are you here? Is this a dream too? Who are you? Oh, I'm afraid they are going to lock me up.
Do you know, Mrs. Manningham, it has occurred to me that you'd be all the better for a little medicine.
Medicine? Are you a doctor? You're not a doctor, are you?
No, I'm not a doctor. But that doesn't mean that a little medicine would do you any harm.
But I have medicine. He makes me take it. It does me no good, and I hate it. How can medicine help a mind that's ill?
Oh, but mine's an exceptional medicine. I have some with me now. You must try it.
What medicine is it?
You shall sample it and see. You see, it has been employed by humanity for several ages for the purpose of the instantaneous removal of dark fears and doubt. That seems to fit you, doesn't it?
The removal of doubt. How could a medicine affect that?
Ah, that we don't know. The fact remains that it does. Here we are. You see, it comes from Scotland. Now, madam, have you such a thing handy as 2 glasses or 2 cups?
Why, are you having some too?
Oh, yes. In fact, I am having some above all things. We could use these cups if you like.
Oh, no, I will get you...
Ah, thank you. The very thing. Now we shan't be long.
What is it? I so dislike medicine. What does it taste like?
Delicious. Something between ambrosia and methylated spirits. Do you mean to say you've never tasted good Scotch whisky, Mrs. Manningham?
Whisky? But I must not take whisky. I can't do that.
You underestimate your powers, Mrs. Manningham. You see, I don't want you thinking you can't trust your reason. This will give you faith in your reason like nothing else. Now, for some water. All right, this will do. There. Tell me, did you ever hear of the cabman's friend, Mrs. Manningham?
The cabman's friend?
Yes. How nice to see you smile. Here's to your very good health. Oh, go on. There. Is it so nasty?
No, I rather like it. My mother used to give us this as children when we had a fever.
Ah, then you're a hardened whisky drinker. But you'll enjoy it better sitting down.
Yes. What were you saying? Who is the cabman's friend?
Ah, the cabman's friend. You should ask me who was the cabman's friend, Mrs. Manningham, for she was an old lady who died many, many years ago.
An old lady years ago. What has she to do with me?
A great deal, I fancy, if you will follow me patiently. Her name was Barlow, Alice Barlow, and she was an old lady of great wealth and decided eccentricities. In fact, her principal mania in life was the protection of cabmen. You may think that an extraordinary hobby, but in her odd way she did a lot of good. She provided these men with shelters, clothing, pensions, and so forth. And that was her little contribution to the sum of the world's happiness, or rather her little stand against the sum of the world's pain. There is a great deal of pain in this world, Mrs. Manningham, you know. Well, it was not my privilege to know her, but it was my duty on just one occasion to see her. That was when her throat was cut open, and she lay dead on the floor of her own house.
Oh, how horrible! Do you mean she was murdered?
Yes, she was murdered. I was only a comparatively young officer at the time, but it made an extremely horrible, in fact I may say lasting impression on me. The murderer was never discovered, But the motive was obvious enough. The Barlow rubies had been inherited by her, and it was well known that she kept them, without any proper precautions, in her bedroom on an upper floor. She lived alone, except for a deaf servant in the basement. Well, for that she paid the penalty of her life.
But what?
There were some sensational features about the case. The man seemed to have got in about 10 at night and stayed till dawn. Apart, presumably, from the jewels, there were only a few trinkets taken, but the whole house had been turned upside down, and in the upper room every single thing was flung about or torn open. Even the cushions of the chairs were ripped up with his bloody knife, and the police decided that it must have been a revengeful maniac as well as a robber. I had other theories, but I was a nobody then, and not in charge of the case.
What were your theories?
Well, it seemed to me, from all that I gathered here and there, that the old lady might have been an eccentric, but that she was by no means a fool. It seemed to me that she might have been one too clever for that man. We presume he killed her to silence her, but what then? What if she had not been so careless? What if she had got those jewels hidden away in some inconceivably cunning place, in the walls, floored down, bricked in maybe? What if the only person who could tell him where they were was lying dead on the floor? Would not that account, Mrs. Manningham, for all the strange confusion in which the place was found? Can't you picture him, Mrs. Manningham, searching through the night, ransacking the place, hour after hour, growing more and more desperate, until at last the dawn comes, and he has to slink out into the pale street, the blood and wreckage of the night behind. And the deaf servant down in the basement, sleeping like a dog through it all.
Oh, how horrible! How horrible indeed! And was the man ever found?
No, Mrs. Manningham. The man was never found. Nor has the Barlow jewellery ever come to light.
Then perhaps he found it after all, and may be alive today.
I think he is almost certainly alive today, but I don't believe he found what he wanted. That is, if my theory is right.
Then the jewels may still be where the old lady hid them.
Indeed, Mrs. Manningham, if my theory is right, the jewels must still be where she hid them. But then, of course, it was only a theory, and that formed in quite a young man long enough ago. The official conclusion was quite otherwise. The police, naturally and quite excusably, presumed that the murderer had got them, and there was no reopening of matters in those days. Soon enough the public forgot about it. I forgot about it myself. But it would be funny, wouldn't it, Mrs. Manningham, if after all these years I should turn out to be right?
Yes, yes, indeed. But what has this to do with me?
Ah, that is the whole question, Mrs. Manningham. What, indeed? What has the obscure murder of an old lady 20 years ago to do with an attractive, though I am afraid at present somewhat pale and wan, young lady in this house, who believes she is going out of her mind and watches the gaslight going up and down when her husband is out at night? Well, I believe there is a link, however remote, wild and strange it may be, and that is why I am here.
It's all so confusing. Won't you...
Do you conceive it possible, Mrs. Manningham, that the man might not have given up hope of one day getting at the treasure which lay there, and have bided his time until he could somehow re-enter the house?
Yes, yes, possibly, but how...
Can you conceive that he may have waited years? 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years even. Time in which he may have done many things. Gone abroad, got married even, until at last his chance came to resume the search begun on that terrible night. You don't follow where I am leading at all, do you, Mrs. Manningham?
Follow you? Yes, I think so.
You know, Mrs. Manningham, of the old theory that the criminal always returns to the scene of his crime? Ah, yes. But in this case, there is something more than morbid compulsion. There There is treasure there to be unearthed. If only he can search again, search methodically, without fear of interruption, without causing suspicion. And how would he do that? Don't you think... What's the matter, Mrs. Manningham?
Quiet. Be quiet. He has come back. Look at the light. It is going down. Wait. There. He has come back, you see? He is upstairs now.
Dear me. Now, how very odd that is. How very odd indeed.
He is in the house, I tell you. You must go. He will know you are here. You must go.
How dark it is. You could hardly see to read.
You must go. He is in the house. Please go.
Quiet, Mrs. Manningham, quiet. You've got to keep your head. Don't you see my meaning yet? Don't you understand that this was the house?
House? What house?
The old woman's house, Mrs. Manningham. This house, here, these rooms, these walls. 20 years ago, Alice Barlow lay dead in this room. 20 years ago, the man who murdered her ransacked this house, below and above, but could not find what he sought. What if he is still searching, Mrs. Manningham? What if he is up there, still searching? Now, do you see why you must keep your head?
But my husband is up there.
Precisely that, Mrs. Manningham. Your husband. You see, I am afraid you are married to a tolerantly dangerous gentleman. Now drink this quickly, as we have a great deal to do.
This house? How do you know this was the house?
Why, Ma'am, because I was on the case and came here myself, that's all.
Well, the idea is mad. Mad! I have been married 7 years. How can you imagine my husband is... well, what you imagine he may be?
Mrs. Manningham.
Yes.
When the police came into this place 20 years ago, as you can understand, there was a lot of routine work to be done. Interviewing of relatives and friends and so forth. Most of that was left to me.
Well?
Well, amongst all the acquaintances and relatives, nephews and nieces, etc., that I interviewed, there happened to be a young man by the name of Sidney Power. I suppose you've never heard that name at all, have you?
Power?
Yes, Sidney Power. It conveys nothing to you?
Sidney Power? No.
Well, he was a kind of distant cousin, apparently, much attached to the old lady, and even assisting her in her good works. The only thing was that I remembered his face. Well, I saw that face again, about 5 weeks ago. It took me a whole day to discover where I had seen it before, but I remembered it at last.
Well, what of it? What if you did remember him?
It was not so much my remembering Mr. Sidney Power, Mrs. Manningham. What startled me was the lady on his arm, and the locality in which I saw him.
Oh, who was the lady on his arm?
You were the lady on his arm, Mrs. Manningham, and you were walking down this street.
What are you saying? Do you mean you think my husband is this Mr. Power?
Well, no, not exactly. If my theories are right...
What are you saying? You stand there talking riddles. You are so cold. You are as heartless and cold as he is.
No, Mrs. Manningham, I am not cold, and I am not talking riddles. I'm just trying to preserve a cold and calculating tone because you are up against the most awful moment in your life. And your whole future depends on what you are going to do in the next hour. Nothing less. You have got to strike for your freedom, and strike now. For the moment may not come again.
Strike?
You are not going out of your mind, Mrs. Manningham. You are slowly, methodically, systematically being driven out of your mind. And why? Because you are married to a criminal maniac who is afraid you are beginning to know too much. A criminal maniac who steals back to his own house at night, still searching for something he could not find 20 years ago. Those are the facts, wild and incredible as they may seem. His name is no more Manningham than mine is. He is Sidney Power, and he murdered Alice Barlow in this house. He changed his name, and he has waited all these years until he found it safe to acquire this house in a legal way. Then he acquired the empty house next door. Every night for the last few weeks, he has entered that house from the back, climbed up onto its roof, and come into this house by the skylight. I know that because I have seen him do it. You have watched the Gaslight and been aware of the same thing. He is up there now. Why should he employ this mad, secretive, circuitous way of getting at what he wants? God himself only knows. For the same reason, perhaps, that he employs this mad, secretive, circuitous way of getting rid of you. That is by slowly driving you mad and sending you into a lunatic asylum. Thank God you are not married to him, and that I have come here to save you from the workings of his wicked mind.
Not married. Not married. He married me.
I have no doubt he did, Mrs. Manningham. Unfortunately, or rather fortunately, he contracted the same sort of union with another lady many years before he met you. Moreover, the lady is still alive, and the English law has a highly exacting taste in monogamy. You see, I have been finding things out about Mr. Sidney Power.
Are you speaking the truth? My God, are you speaking the truth? Where is his wife now?
If my guesses are right, she is the length of the world away. On the continent of Australia, to be precise. Where I know for a fact he spent 5 years. Did you know that?
No, I did not know that.
Ah, yes. If only I could find her, everything would be easier. And that's the whole root of the matter, Mrs. Manningham. So far, I am only dealing in guesses and half facts. I've got to have evidence. And that is why I came to see you. You have got to give me the evidence or help me find it.
This is my husband. Don't you understand? This is my husband. He married me. Do you ask me to betray the man who married me?
By which, of course, you mean the man who has betrayed you into thinking that you are married to him, don't you?
But I am married to him. You must go. I must think this out. You must go. I must cling to the man I married. Mustn't I?
Oh, indeed. Cling to him by all means, but do not imagine you are the only piece of ivy. You can cling to him if you desire, as his fancy women cling to him in the low resorts of the town. That is the sort of wall you have to cling to, ma'am.
Women? What are you suggesting?
I'm not suggesting anything. I'm only telling you what I have seen. He comes to life at night, this gentleman upstairs, in more ways than one. I've made it my business to follow him on some of his less serious excursions, and I can promise you he has a taste in unemployed actresses, which he is at no pains to conceal.
Is this the truth? Are you telling me the truth?
Mrs. Manningham, will you look me in the eyes again and see if you think I am telling you the truth?
Yes. I have known it. How strange that is. I have known it all along.
Mrs. Manningham, it is hard to take everything from you, but you are no more tied to this man. You are under no more obligation to him than those wretched women in those places. You must learn to be thankful for that.
What do you want me to do? What do you want?
I want his papers, Mrs. Manningham, his identity. There is some clue somewhere in this house, and we have got to get at it. Where does he keep his papers?
Papers? I know of no papers. Oh, unless his bureau.
Yes, his bureau. His bureau?
Yes, there. But he keeps it always locked. I have never seen it open.
He keeps it always locked, does he?
It is just his desk, his bureau.
Very well. We will have a look inside.
But it is locked. How can you if it is locked?
Oh, it doesn't look so formidable. You know, Mrs. Manningham, one of the greatest regrets of my life is that fate never made me one of two things. One was a gardener, the other a burglar. Both quiet occupations, Mrs. Manningham. As for the last, if I'd started young and worked my way up, I should have been a genius. Now, let's have a look at this.
Oh, but you must not touch this. He will know what you have done.
Come now, Ma'am. You're working with me, aren't you? Not against me? Yes. Now, do you mind if I take off my coat? I'm a man who never feels at work until his coat is off. Oh, quite a saucy shirt, don't you think? You didn't suspect I was such a dandy, did you? Now, let's have a real look at this.
Oh, but you must not tamper with that. He will know what you have done.
Not if we are clever enough. And this one here doesn't even ask for cleverness. You see, Mrs. Manningham, there are all manner of...
Stop. Stop talking. Haven't you noticed? Haven't you noticed something?
Notice? I've only...
Stop. Yes, I was right. Look, can't you see? The light. It's going up. He's coming back.
The light?
Quiet. Don't you see? It's come back. You must go. He's coming back. Don't you see? He's coming back and you must go.
God bless my soul. This looks as if the unexpected has entered in and our plans are going awry.
Oh, he always does the unexpected. I never know what he'll do. You must go.
I wonder. Yes. Well. Now, please, will you go and ring that bell for Elizabeth?
Elizabeth? Why do you want her?
Do as I say and ring the bell at once, please. Or you can go and fetch her if you like. Now, let me see.
Oh, what shall I do? What shall I say to him? You must go at once. Why do you want Elizabeth?
All in good time. He's not going to jump through the window, you know. In fact, he can't be round at our front door in less than 5 minutes. Unless he's a magician. Now, can you see anything that I've missed?
No. Yes, the whiskey here.
Oh, yes. I told you you'd make a good policeman. Don't forget the glasses.
Oh, do go, please. Please go.
Ah, Elizabeth. Come here, will you?
Yes, sir.
Elizabeth, you and I have got to do a little, quite calm but rather quick thinking. Are you anxious to help your mistress, Elizabeth?
Why, yes, sir. I told you I was, sir. But what's it all about?
Are you anxious to help your mistress blindly, without asking any questions?
Yes, sir. But you see...
Come now, Elizabeth. Are you or are you not?
Oh, yes, sir.
Good. Now, Elizabeth, Mrs. Manningham and I have reason to suppose that in about 5 minutes' time the master is returning to this house. I do not think it is advisable to leave the house at the moment, as I might be seen doing so by the master. Would you be good enough to take me down to your kitchen and hide me away for a short space of time? You can put me in the oven if you like.
Yes, sir. But you see...
You must go. You must go. He won't see you if you go now.
What were you saying, Elizabeth?
Yes, sir. You could come to the kitchen, but Nancy's down there, sir.
Nancy? What the devil's this, then? I thought this was Nancy's afternoon off. Was it not arranged that I should come when Nancy was away?
Yes, sir, but for some reason she stayed on. I think she's got a young man, and I couldn't make her go, could I, sir? If I'd have done that,
Yeah,
I'd have...
all right. Then she was here when I came, and she knows I am here, is that it?
Oh, no. She was in the scullery when I answered the door, and I said it was a man who'd come to the wrong house. She hasn't no idea, sir, and
All right. That's better news. But it means you can't entertain me in the kitchen. Now, where are you going to hide me, Elizabeth? Make up your mind quickly, as time is getting rather short.
I don't know, sir, unless you go to the bedroom. Mine and Nancy's, I mean.
That sounds altogether entrancing. Shall we go there now?
Yes, sir, but supposing Nancy went up there before she goes out.
You think of everything, Elizabeth, and you're a good soul. Where does this lead to, and what's the matter with this?
It's where he dresses, where he keeps his clothes. Yes, sir, go in there, sir. He won't see you in there. There's a big wardrobe there, at the back.
Excuse me.
Oh, Elizabeth.
It's all right, ma'am. Don't take on so. It'll be all right.
I'm sure he ought to go.
No, ma'am. He knows best. He's bound to know best.
Perfect accommodation. Yes, there he is. Now we really have got to hurry. Get off to bed, Mrs. Manningham, quick. And you, Elizabeth, go to your room. You can't get downstairs in time. Hurry, please, Elizabeth. Turn down that lamp.
To bed? Am I to go to bed?
Yes, quick. He's coming. Don't you understand? Go there and stay there. Take her, Elizabeth. You have a bad headache. A bad headache. Will you take her in heaven's name?
Come with me, madam. Did you ring, sir?
Yes, I did. Where is Mrs. Manningham, Elizabeth?
I think she's gone to bed, sir. I think she had a bad headache and went to bed.
Oh, indeed. And how long has the good lady been in bed, do you know?
She went just a little while ago, sir. I think, sir, she's gone up...
Oh, I see. Then we must be quiet, mustn't we? Walk about like cats. Can you walk about like a cat, Elizabeth?
Yes, sir. I think so.
Very well, Elizabeth. Walk about like a cat. All right? That's all.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Elizabeth.
Yes, sir. Did you call, sir?
Yes. Why haven't you cleared away the tea things?
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. I was really just about
I think
to...
you had better clear away the tea things, Elizabeth.
Yes, sir. Excuse me, sir, but were you going to have some supper, sir?
Oh, yes. I am going to have some supper. The question is, am I going to have supper here?
Oh, yes, sir. Are you going to have it out, sir?
Yes, I'm having it out. I have come back to change my linen.
Do you want a fresh collar, sir? Shall I get you a fresh collar?
Why? Do you know where my collars are kept?
Well, why, yes, sir. In your room there, sir. Shall I get you one, sir?
What a lot you know, Elizabeth. And do you know the sort of collar I want tonight?
Why, yes, sir. I think I know the sort of collar, sir.
Then all I can say that is you know a great deal more than I do. No, I think you must let me choose my own collar. That is, if I have your permission, Elizabeth.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What did you think about Mrs. Manningham tonight, Elizabeth?
Mrs. Manningham, sir? In what way do you mean, sir?
Oh, just as regards her general health, Elizabeth.
I don't know, sir. She certainly seems very unwell.
Yes. I doubt if you guess to what extent she is unwell, or you're beginning to guess.
I don't know, sir.
I'm afraid I was compelled to drag you and Nancy into our troubles tonight. Perhaps I should not have done that.
It all seems very sad, sir.
I'm at my wits' end, Elizabeth. Do you know that?
I expect you are, sir.
I have tried everything. Kindness, patience, cunning, even harshness to bring her to her senses. But nothing will stop these wild hallucinations. Nothing will stop these wicked pranks and tricks.
It all seems very terrible, sir.
You don't know a quarter of it, Elizabeth. You only see what is forced upon your attention, as it was tonight. You have no conception of what goes on all the time. No, not this one, I think.
Do you want another tie, sir?
Yes. I suppose you know about Mrs. Manningham's mother, Elizabeth?
No, sir. What of her, sir?
Not of the manner in which she died?
No, sir.
She died in a madhouse, Elizabeth, without any brain at all in the end.
Oh, sir! How terrible, sir!
Yes, terrible indeed. The doctors could do nothing. You know, don't you, that I shall have to bring a doctor to Mrs. Manningham before long, Elizabeth. I have fought against it to the last, but it can't be kept a secret much longer.
No, sir. No, sir.
I mean to say, you know what goes on. You can testify to what goes on, can't you?
Indeed, sir. Yes.
Indeed, you may have to testify in the end. Do you realise that?
Yes, sir. I would only wish to help you both, sir.
Yes, I believe you there, Elizabeth. You're a very good soul. I sometimes wonder how you put up with things in this household. This dark household. I wonder why you do not go. You're very loyal.
Always loyal to you, sir. Always loyal to you.
There now. How touching. I thank you, Elizabeth. You will be repaid later for what you have said, and repaid in more ways than one. You understand that, don't you?
Thank you, sir. I only want to serve, sir.
Yes, I know that. Well, Elizabeth, I'm going out. In fact, I'm even going to try and be a little gay. Can you understand that, or do you think it is wrong?
Oh, no, sir, no. You should get pleasure while you can, sir. While you can.
I wonder. Yes. I wonder. It's a curious existence, isn't it? Well, good night, Elizabeth.
Good night, sir. Good night.
He was right when he said you would be repaid, Elizabeth. Though not in the way he thinks. Will you go and get Mrs. Manningham?
Yes, sir. I'll get her, sir. Ah, sorry, ma'am.
Ah, there you are.
I saw him go.
Now we must get back to work.
What did he want? What did he come back for?
He only came back to change his clothes. Turn up the lamp, will you? Now, let's have another look at this.
What if he comes back again? There is no light to warn us now.
Oh, you've realised that, have you? Well, Mrs. Manningham, we've just got to take that risk. This is going to be child's play, I fancy. Just a little patience, a little adroitness, and the use... What's that? Go and have a look, will you? We seem to be rather bothered this evening, don't we?
Oh, it's all right. It's only Nancy. I forgot. She usually goes out at this time.
She uses the front door, does she?
Oh, yes. Indeed she does. She behaves like a mistress in this house.
A saucy girl. Here we are. Next to a key, there is nothing a lock appreciates like kindness.
Will you be able to close it again?
Yes, no damage done yet. Now, let's see. Doesn't seem to be much here. And when she got there, the cupboard was bare. And so the poor detective had...
What is that in your hand? Let me see. Let me see.
It's just a bill, I fancy.
Yes. Yes, as you say. Just a bill. Just a grocer's bill. Oh, you must forgive me if I doubted you at first, Inspector. You are right. He must be the wickedest man on earth.
Now I'm afraid you're one ahead of me, Mrs. Manningham.
This bill. This evening he went storming out of the house because he had given it to me and it had disappeared. He threatened me with a madhouse if it did not come to light. Oh, I am beginning to understand, I think, at last.
Really now? Well, well, the essence of a good trick is its simplicity, isn't it?
Is there anything else in there? What else is there? Yes, look, my watch. And my brooch. My brooch. Look at these. Oh, my God, look at these.
These are your property also, then?
Yes, both of them. This watch I lost a week ago. My brooch has been missing 3 months. And he said he would give me no more gifts because I lost them. He said that in my wickedness I hid them away. Oh, Inspector, you have indeed found treasure tonight.
Not very much at present, I'm afraid. At least, not very much to the point. Ah, yes. This is locked.
One moment. One moment. Oh, this is from my cousin. My cousin.
Is his correspondence with your relations very much to the point at the moment, Mrs. Mallory?
You don't understand. You don't understand. When I was married, I was cast off by all my relations. I have not seen any of them ever since I've been married. They did not approve of my choice. I have longed to see them again more than anything else in the world. When we came to London, to this house, I wrote to them. I wrote to them twice. There was never any answer. Now I see why I had no answer. This letter is from my cousin.
Ah, yes, I see. Just another little...
Listen, let me read you what he says. Let me read it to you. Dear cousin, all of us were overjoyed to hear from you again. Overjoyed. Do you hear that? He goes on to say that his family are in Devonshire, that they have gone to the country. He says we must meet and recapture old times. He says that they all want to see me. He says he is sorry I have not been well, that I must go and stay with them, that they will give me their Devonshire cream to fatten my cheeks, and their fresh air to bring the sparkle back to my eyes. They will give me... Oh, dear heaven, they wanted me back. They wanted me back all the time.
Poor thing, poor thing. You shall have your Devonshire cream, my dear, and you shall have your fresh air to bring the sparkle back into your eyes. Why, I can see a sparkle in them already. If you will be brave now, you will not have to wait so long. Are you going to be brave?
Thank you, Inspector, for bringing me this letter. What do you want me to do now?
Just stand by for the moment, Mrs. Manningham. Tell me, this drawer here, has it ever been opened to your knowledge?
No.
No? I suspected as much. Yes, this is a tougher proposition, I'm afraid.
What are you going to do? Are you going to force it?
If I possibly can. I don't know.
Oh, but you must not do that. You mustn't. What shall I say when he comes back?
I've no idea what you will say when he comes back, Mrs. Manningham. But then I have no idea what you will do when he comes back, Mrs. Manningham, if I have no evidence to remove you from his loving care for good.
Oh, God, I am afraid. What can I do?
There is only one thing we can do. Go ahead. If we go back now, we are lost. I'm going to force it and gamble on finding something. Are you with me?
But don't you see? All right. Force it. Force it. But be quick.
There's no hurry, ma'am. He's quite happy where he is. Now, I don't like violent methods of this sort. It makes me feel like a dentist. There! All over now. Now, let's have a look.
Is there anything in there? Is there anything there?
Nothing at present, I'm afraid. Nothing at present. Wait a minute. No. Oh, what's this?
Is there nothing?
Oh, one moment. No, not a thing. We have lost our gamble, ma'am, I'm afraid.
Oh, dear, what are we to do?
Some rapid thinking at the moment. Don't have any fear, Mrs. Manningham. I've been in many a tighter corner than this. Let's get these things back to begin with, shall we? Give me the watch and the brooch. We must put them back where they were.
Yes, here they are.
Thank you. Now, we must remember where they went. Here on the right, was it not?
Yes, there. That's right, there.
Oh, that's a nice piece of jewellery. When did he give you that?
Soon after we were married, but it was only second-hand.
Second-hand, eh? I'm afraid you got everything second-hand from this gentleman, Mrs. Manningham. Well, that's all right, I think. Now, I must lock this up again if I can. Second-hand? How did you know that piece of jewellery was second-hand, Mrs. Manningham?
There's an affectionate inscription to someone else inside.
Oh, is there? Why didn't you tell me that?
Why, I only found it myself a little while ago.
Oh, really? Do you know, I have a feeling I've seen this somewhere before. Where is this inscription you speak of?
It is a sort of trick. I only discovered it by accident.
Ah.
You pull the pin at the back out, it goes to the right and then to the left. It opens out like a star.
Yes. Ah, here we are, yes. How very odd. What are these spaces here?
There were some beads in it, but they were all loose and falling out, so I took them out.
Oh, there were some beads in it, but they were all loose and falling out, so you took them out. Have you got them by any chance?
Yes, I think so. I put them in a vase.
May I see them, please?
Yes. They should still be here.
There should be 9 altogether, I think.
Oh, yes, that's right. I think there were. Yes, here they are. Here are some of them, at any rate.
Let me see, will you? Oh, thank you. Try and find them all, will you? Did you happen to read this inscription at any time, Ma'am?
Yes, I read it. Why?
Beloved A.B. from C.B. 1851. Does nothing strike you about that?
No. What of it? What should strike me?
Really? I should have thought that as simple as ABC. Have you got the others? There should be 4 more.
Yes, here they are.
Thank you. That's the lot. Now tell me this. Have you ever been embraced by an elderly detective in his shirt sleeves?
What do you mean?
For that is your immediate fate at the moment, my dear Mrs. Manningham. Oh, my dear, dear Mrs. Manningham, do you not understand?
No, what are you so excited about?
There you are, Mrs. Manningham. The Barlow rubies. Complete. £12,000 worth before your eyes. Take a good look at them before they go to the Queen.
Oh, but it couldn't be. It couldn't. They were in the vase all the time.
Oh, don't you see? Don't you see the whole thing? This is where the old lady hid her treasure at night. In a common trinket she wore all the day. I knew I had seen this somewhere before. And where was that? In Portraits of the Old Lady when I was on the case. She wore it on her breast. I remember it clearly, though it was 20 years ago. 20 years ago! Oh, dear God in heaven! Am I not a wonderful man?
And I had it all the time. I had it all the time.
And all because he could not resist a little common theft along with the big game. Well, it is I who am after the big game now.
Are you going?
Oh, yes, I must certainly go, and very quickly at that.
Where are you going? Are you going to leave me? What are you going to do?
I am going to move heaven and earth, Mrs. Manningham, and if I have any luck, I shall be back tonight. It's very early yet. What time do you think he'll be back?
I don't know. He's not usually back till 11.
Yes, so I thought. Let's hope so. That will give me time. Here, give me that. Have you closed it? We will put it back where we found it.
But what are you going to do?
It's not exactly what I'm going to do. It's what the government in the person of Sir George Raglan is going to do. Yes, ma'am, Sir George Raglan, no one less. The power above all the powers that be. He knows I am here tonight, you see. But he didn't know I was going to find what I have found. Yes, we've done for that, I'm afraid. Well, we must just risk it, that's all. Now, Mrs. Manningham, you will serve the ends of justice best by simply going to bed. Do you mind going to bed?
No, I will go to bed.
Very well, then. Go there and stay there. Your headache is worse, be ill, be anything, but stay there. I'll let myself out.
Oh, don't leave me. Please don't leave me. I have a feeling. Don't leave me.
Feeling? What feeling?
A feeling that something will happen if you leave me. I'm afraid. I haven't the courage.
Have the goodness to stop making a fool of yourself, Mrs. Manningham. Here's your courage. Take some more of it, but don't get tipsy. And don't leave it about. Goodbye.
Inspector.
Yes.
All right. Goodbye.
Goodbye, Mrs. Manningham.
Yes.
All right. Goodbye.
Yes, sir. Did you ring, sir?
Yes, Nancy, I did ring. It seems that the entire household has gone to bed without leaving me my milk and without leaving me my biscuits.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. Well, they're only just outside. I'll bring 'em in. Mrs. Manningham usually gets them, doesn't she, sir? Cook's in bed, you see, and I've only just come in.
Quite, Nancy. Then perhaps you will deputise for Mrs. Manningham and bring them into the room.
Certainly, sir.
Oh, and before you do that, Nancy, will you go upstairs and tell Mrs. Manningham that I wish to see her down here?
Yes, sir. Certainly, sir.
Well, Nancy, did you go upstairs?
Yes, sir. She says she has an headache, sir, and is trying to sleep.
Oh, she still has a headache, has she?
Yes, sir. Is there anything else you want, sir?
Did you ever know a time when Mrs. Manningham did not have a headache, Nancy?
No, sir. Hardly ever, sir.
Do you usually perform your domestic tasks in outdoor costume, Nancy?
I told you, sir. I've only just come in. I heard the bell by chance.
Oh, yes, that's just the point.
What do you mean, sir?
Will you be so good as to come closer, Nancy, where I can see you? Have you any idea of the time of day, or rather night, Nancy?
Yes, sir. I thought I saw you, sir.
Oh, you thought you saw me? Well, I certainly saw you.
Did you, sir?
Have you ever reflected, Nancy, that you are given a great deal of latitude in this house?
I don't know, sir. I don't know what latitude means.
Latitude, Nancy, means considerable liberty. Liberty to the extent of 2 nights off a week.
Yes, sir.
Well, that's all very well. It is not so well, however, when you return as late as the master of the house. We ought to keep up some pretences, you know.
Yes, sir. We must.
Nancy.
Yes, sir?
Where the devil have you been tonight, anyway?
Oh, only with some friends, sir.
You know gentlemen friends have been known to take decided liberties with young ladies like yourself. Are you alive to such a possibility?
Oh, no, sir. Not with me. I can look after myself.
Are you always so anxious to look after yourself?
No, sir. Not always. Perhaps.
You know, Nancy, pretty as your bonnet is, it is not anything near so pretty as your hair beneath it. Won't you take it off and let me see it?
Very good, sir. It comes off easy enough. There. Is there anything more you want, sir?
Yes. Possibly. Come here, will you, Nancy?
Yes, sir. Is there anything you want, sir? What do you want, eh? What do you want? There. Can she do that for you? Can she do that?
Who can you be talking about, Nancy?
Oh, you know who I mean, all right.
You know, Nancy, you are a very remarkable girl in many respects. I believe you are jealous of your mistress.
She? Oh, she's a poor thing. There's no need to be jealous of her. You want to kiss me again, don't you? Don't you want to kiss me? There. That's better than a sick headache, ain't it? A sick headache and a pale face all day.
Oh, yes, Nancy. I believe it is. I think, however, don't you, that it would be better if you and I met one evening in a different surroundings?
Yes. Where? I'll meet you where you like. Oh, you're mine now, ain't you? 'Cause you want me. You want me, don't you?
And what of you, Nancy? Do you want me?
Oh, yes. I've wanted you ever since I first clapped eyes on you. I've wanted you more than all of them.
Oh, there are plenty of others?
Oh, yeah. There's plenty of others.
So I rather imagined. I'm only 19.
Where can we meet? Where do you want us to meet?
Really, Nancy, you have taken me a little by surprise. I'll let you know tomorrow.
How you let me know when she's about?
Oh, I'll find a way.
Not that I care for her. I'd like to kiss you right under her very nose. That's what I'd like to do.
All right, Nancy. Now, you had better go. I have some work to do.
Go? Oh, I don't want to go.
There, run along. I have some work to do.
Work? What are you going to work at? What are you going to do?
Oh, I'm going to write some letters. Go along, Nancy. That's a good girl.
Oh, very well, sir. You shall be master for a little more. Good night, your lordship.
Good night.
When will you let me know tomorrow?
When I find time, Nancy. When I find time. Good night.
Good night.
That wretched woman has broken into my bureau.
Yes? What is it now?
Nancy, will you please go upstairs and take a message for me to Mrs. Manningham?
Yes. What do you want me to say?
Will you please tell her that she is to come down here this instant, whether she is suffering from a sick headache or any other form of ailment?
Just like that, sir.
Just like that, Nancy.
With the greatest of pleasure, sir. She won't come. She don't mean to come.
What do you mean, Nancy, she won't come?
She said she can't come. She's not well enough. She's just shamming, if you ask me.
Really? Then she forces me to be undignified. All right, Nancy. Leave it to me.
The door's locked. She got it locked. I tried it.
Oh, really? The door is locked, is it? Very well.
She won't let you in. I can tell by her voice. She got it locked and she won't open it. Here, are you going to batter it in?
No. Perhaps you are right, Nancy. Let us try more delicate means of attaining our ends. Perhaps you will take a note to this wretched imbecile and slip it under her door.
Yes, I'll do that. Here, what are you going to write?
Never mind what I'm going to write. I tell you what you can do, though, Nancy.
Yes? What?
Just go down to the basement and bring the little dog here, will you?
The dog?
The dog, yes.
Hey, what's the game? What's the idea with the dog?
Never mind. Just go and get it, will you?
All right.
Or, on second thoughts, perhaps you need not get the dog. We will just let it be supposed that we have the dog. That will be even more delicate still. Here you are, Nancy. Please go and put this under the door.
What's the idea? What have you written in this?
Nothing very much. Just a little smoke for getting rats out of holes. There. Run along.
You're a rum beggar, ain't you? Can't I look?
Go on, Nancy.
She's coming. He's done the trick all right.
Ah, so I thought. Very well, Nancy. Now, I shall be obliged if you will go to bed at once.
Go on. What's the game? What's the rabbit?
Nancy, will you please go to bed?
All right, I'm going. Good night, old dear. Give her what for, won't you?
Good night, Nancy.
Ta-ta. Perhaps you will let me pass, madam.
Come and sit down in this chair, please, Bella.
Where is the dog? Where have you got the dog?
Dog? What dog?
You said you had the dog. Have you hurt it? Let me have it. Where is it? Have you hurt it again?
Again, this strange talk, Bella, from you. After what you did to the dog a few weeks ago. Come and sit down there.
I do not want to speak to you. I am not well. I thought you had the dog and were going to hurt it. That is why I came down.
The dog, my dear Bella, was merely a ruse to compel you to pay me a visit quietly. Come and sit down where I told you.
No. I want to go.
Come and sit down where I told you!
Yes. What do you want?
Quite a good deal, Bella. Sit down and make yourself comfortable. We have plenty of time.
I want to go. You cannot keep me here. I want to go.
Sit down and make yourself comfortable, Bella. We have plenty of time.
Say what you have to say.
Now, you are not sitting in the chair I indicated, Bella.
What have you got to say?
I have to say that you are not sitting in the chair I indicated. Are you afraid of me that you desire to get so near the door?
No, I am not afraid of you.
Indeed. Then you have a good deal of courage, my dear. However, will you now sit down where I told you?
Yes.
Do you know what you remind me of, Bella, as you walk across the room?
No. What do I remind you of?
A somnambulist, Bella. Have you ever seen such a person?
No, I have never seen one.
Haven't you? Not that funny, glazed, dazed look of the wandering mind. The body that acts without the soul to guide it. I have often thought you had that look, but it's never been so strong as tonight.
My mind is not wandering.
No? When I came in, Bella, I was told that you had gone to bed.
Yes, I had gone to bed.
Then may I ask why you are still fully dressed? Did you hear what I said?
Yes, I heard what you said.
Then will you tell me why, since you had gone to bed, you are still fully dressed?
I don't know.
You don't know? Do you know anything about anything you do?
I don't know. I forgot to undress.
You forgot to undress? A curious oversight, if I may say so, Bella. You know, you give me the appearance of having had a rather exciting time since I last saw you. Almost as though you have been up to something. Have you been up to something?
No. I don't know what you mean.
Did you find that bill I told you to find?
No.
Do you remember what I said would happen to you if you did not find that bill when I returned tonight?
No.
No? No? Am I married to a dumb woman, Bella, in addition to all else? The array of your physical and mental deficiencies is growing almost overwhelming. I advise you to answer me.
What do you want me to say?
I asked you if you remembered something. Go on, Bella. What was it I asked you if you remembered?
I don't understand your words. You talk round and round. My head is going round and round.
It is not necessary for you to tell me that, Bella. I am just wondering if it might interrupt its gyratory motion for a fraction of a second and concentrate upon the present conversation. Now, please. What was it I, a moment ago, asked you if you remembered?
You asked me if I remembered what you said would happen to me if I did not find that bill.
Admirable, my dear Bella, admirable. We shall make a great logician of you yet. A Socrates, a John Stuart Mill. You shall go down to history as the shining mind of your day. That is, if your present history does not altogether submerge you, take you away from your fellow creatures, and there is a danger of that, you know, in more ways than one. Well, what did I say I would do if you did not find that bill?
You said you would lock me up.
Yes. And do you believe me to be a man of my word? You see, Bella, in a life of considerable and varied experience, I have hammered out a few principles of action. In fact, I actually fancy I know how to deal with my fellow men. I learnt it quite early, actually, at school, in fact. There, you know, there were two ways of getting at what you wanted. One was along an intellectual plane, the other along the physical. If one failed, one used the other. I took that lesson into life with me. Hitherto with you, I have worked with what forbearance and patience I leave you to judge along the intellectual plane. The time has come now, I believe, to work along the other as well. you will understand that I am a man of some power. Why do you look at me, Bella? I said I am a man of some power and determination, and as fully capable in one direction as in the other. I will leave your imagination to work on what I mean. However, we are really digressing. You did not find the bill I told you to find?
No.
Did you look for it?
Yes.
Where did you look for it?
Oh, around the room.
Around the room? Where around the room? In my desk, for instance?
No, not in your desk.
Why not in my desk?
Your desk is locked.
Do you imagine you can lie to me?
I am not lying.
Come here, Bella.
What do you want?
Now listen to me. Your dark, confused, rambling mind has led you into playing some pretty tricks tonight, has it not?
My mind is tired. I want to go to bed.
Your mind is indeed tired. Your mind is so tired that it can no longer work at all. You do not think. You dream. Dream all day long. Dream everything. Dream maliciously and incessantly. Don't you know that by now? You sleepwalking imbecile, what have you been dreaming tonight? Where has your mind wandered, that you have split open my desk? What strange, diseased dream have you had tonight, eh?
A dream? Are you saying I have dreamed? Dreamed all that happened?
All that happened when, Bella? Tonight? Of course you dreamed all that happened, or rather all that didn't happen.
Dream? Tonight? Are you saying I have dreamed? Oh, God, have I dreamed? Have I dreamed again?
Have I not told you?
Oh, I haven't dreamed. I haven't.
Sit
Don't tell
down
me that I
and
have
be
dreamed.
quiet.
In the name
Sit
of God, don't tell
down.
me that.
What was this dream of yours, Bella? You interest me.
I dreamt of a man. I dreamt of a man.
You dreamed of a man, Bella. What man did you dream of, pray?
A man that came to see me. Oh, let me rest. Let me rest.
Pull yourself together, Bella. What man are you talking about?
I dreamed a man came in here.
I know you dreamed it, you gibbering wretch. I want to know more about this man of whom you dreamed. Do you hear? Do you hear?
I dreamed.
Was I any part of this curious dream of yours, Mrs. Manningham? Perhaps my presence here will help you to recall it.
May I ask who the devil you are and how you got in?
Well, who I am seems a little doubtful. Apparently I am a mere figment of Mrs. Manningham's imagination. As for how I got in, I came in, or rather I came back, or better still, I effected an entrance a few minutes before you, and I have been hidden away ever since.
And would you be kind enough to tell me what you are doing here?
Waiting for some friends, Mr. Manningham. Waiting for some friends. Don't you think you had better go up to bed, Mrs. Manningham? You look very tired.
Don't you think you had better explain your business, sir?
Well, as a mere figment, as a mere ghost existing only in your wife's mind, I can hardly be said to have any business. Tell me, Mr. Manningham, can you see me? No doubt your wife can, but it must be difficult for you. Perhaps if she goes to her room I will vanish, and you won't be bothered by me any more.
Bella, go to your room. I shall find out the meaning of this and deal with you in due course. Go to your room. I will call you down later. I have not finished with you yet, madam.
You know, I believe you're wrong there, Manningham. I believe that is just what you have done.
Done what?
Finished with your wife, my friend.
Now, sir, will you have the goodness to tell me your name and your business, if any?
I have no name, Manningham, in my present capacity. I am, as I have pointed out, a mere spirit. Perhaps a spirit of something you have evaded all your life. But in any case, only a spirit. Will you have a cigar with a spirit? We may have to wait some time.
Are you going to explain your business, sir, or am I going to have to fetch a policeman and have you turned out?
An admirable idea. I could have thought of nothing better myself. Yes, Fetch a policeman, Manningham, and have me turned out. Why do you wait?
Alternatively, sir, I can turn you out myself.
Yes, but why not fetch a policeman?
You give me the impression, sir, that you have something up your sleeve. Will you go on with what you were saying?
Yes, certainly. Where was I? Yes. Excuse me, Mr. Manningham, but do you get the same impression as myself?
What impression?
An impression that the light is going down in this room.
I have noticed it.
Yes, surely. There. Eerie, isn't it? Now we are almost in the dark. Why do you think that has happened? You don't suppose a light has been put on somewhere else? You don't suppose that strangers have entered the house? You don't suppose there are other spirits? Fellow spirits of mine, spirits surrounding this house now, spirits of justice, even, which have caught up with you at last, Mr. Manningham?
Are you off your head, sir?
No, sir, just an old man seeing ghosts. It must be the atmosphere of this house. I can see them everywhere. It's the oddest thing. Do you know one ghost I can see, Mr. Manningham? You could hardly believe it.
What ghosts do you see, pray?
Why, it's the ghost of an old woman, sir. The ghost of an old woman 20 years ago. An old woman who once lived in this house, who once lived in this very room. Yes, in this very room. What things I imagine.
What are you saying?
Remarkably clear, sir, I see it. An old woman getting ready to go to bed. Here in this very room, an old woman getting ready to go up to bed at the end of the day. Why, there she is. She sits just there. And now it seems I see another ghost as well. I see the ghost of a young man, Mr. Manningham, a handsome, tall, well-groomed young man. But this young man has murder in his eyes. Why, God bless my soul, he might be you, Mr. Manningham. He might be you. The old woman sees him. Don't you see it all? She screams for help, screams before her throat is cut open with a knife. She lies dead on the floor. The floor of this room, in this house, there. Now I don't see that ghost any more.
What's the game, eh? What's the game?
But I still see the ghost of the man. I see him all through the night as he ransacks the house, hour after hour, room after room, ripping everything up, turning everything out, madly seeking the thing he cannot find. Then 20 years pass, and where is he? Why, sir, is he not still in the same house? The house he ransacked, the house he searched? And does he now not stand before the ghost of the woman he killed in the room in which he killed her? A methodical man, a patient man, but perhaps he has waited too long. For justice has waited too. And here she is, in my person, to exact her due. And justice found, my friend, in 1 hour, what you sought for 20 years, and still could not find. See, here, look what she found. First, a bill which your wife had lost. Then a letter which never reached your wife. Then a brooch which you gave your wife, but which she lost. How wicked of her! But then she didn't know its value. How was she to know that it held the Barlow rubies? There. See? £12,000 worth before your eyes. There you are, sir. You killed one woman for those and tried to drive another out of her mind, and all the time they lay in your own desk. And all they have brought you is a rope around your neck. Well, the game is over, Mr. Sidney Power, and I advise you take the matter philosophically.
You seem, sir, to have some very remarkable information. Do you imagine you are going to leave this room with such information in your possession?
Do you imagine, sir, that you are going to leave this room without suitable escort?
May I ask what you mean by that?
Only that I have men in the house already. Didn't you realise that they had signalled their arrival from above? Your own way in, Mr. Manningham, when that light went down. Mr. Manningham, I have the pleasure of introducing two of Scotland Yard's finest. Come in, constables. Take him.
You, what the devil's this?
Take him.
Here! Leave go of me, will you? Here! Leave go of me! Here's a fine way of going on. Here's a fine way!
Sidney Charles Power, I have a warrant for your arrest for the murder of Alice Barlow. I should warn you that anything you may say now may be taken down in writing and used as evidence at a later date. Will you accompany us to the station in a peaceful manner? Will you oblige us all and serve your own interests best, Power, by coming with us quietly? Very well, take him away!
Inspector Ruff.
Yes, my dear. Now, don't you think you'd better
Inspector,
Yes?
I want to speak to my husband.
Now, surely there's nothing
I
to
want to speak to my husband.
Very well, my dear. What do you want to say?
I want to speak to him alone.
Alone?
Yes, alone. Won't you please let me speak to him alone? I beg of you to allow me. I will not keep him long.
I don't quite understand. Alone? Very well. You may speak to him alone. Very well. Constables, tie him to that chair. This is anything but in order. But we will wait outside. I'm afraid you must not be long, Mrs. Manningham.
I do not want you to listen.
No. I will not listen. Constables, come.
Jack. Jack, what have they done to you? What have they done?
Take it easy, Bella. You're clever. Get something to cut this and I'll get away. I can get out through the dressing room and make a jump for it. Can you get something?
Yes, I can get something. What can I get?
There's a razor in my dressing room. In there. Quick. Be quick. Go and get it.
Yes, I will get it. I will get it for you.
That's a good girl. You're a good girl. Quick. Be quick.
How strange. The door is locked.
What do you mean, locked? There's the key. There. I see it. Turn the key and go in.
Key? What key? You are not suggesting that this is a key I hold in my hand? Have you gone mad, my husband?
What's the game, Bella?
Or is it I who am mad? Yes, that is it. Of course, I am mad. It was a key, and I have lost it. Dear God, I have lost it, haven't I? I am always losing things, and I can never find them. I don't know where I put them.
Bella?
Oh, I must look for it, mustn't I? Yes. If I don't find it, you will lock me in my room. You will lock me in the madhouse for my mischief. Oh, where could it be now? Could it be behind the picture? Yes, it must be there. Oh, no, it is not there. How strange. I must put the picture back, mustn't I? I have taken it down and I must put it back. There. Where now shall I look? The desk? Perhaps I put it in the desk. No, it is not here. Oh, here is a bill. Here is a letter. Here is a watch. See? Take them. I have found them at last, you see? But they don't help you, do they? And I am trying to help you, aren't I? To help you to escape. But how can a mad woman help her husband to escape? What a pity. If I were not mad, I could have helped you. If I were not mad, whatever you had done, I could have pitied and protected you. But because I am mad, I have hated you. And because I am mad, I have betrayed you. And because I am mad, I am rejoicing with my heart, without a shred of pity, without a shred of regret, watching you go with glory in my heart. Inspector! Inspector! Come and take this man away! Come and take this man away! Come and take this man away!
Very well, take him along. I'll join you a little later. Now, my dear, come and sit down. Well, my child, there's all your life ahead now. It's Devonshire cream for you, and the sparkle back in your eyes. Oh, but you've had a bad time. I came in from nowhere and gave you the most horrible evening of your life, didn't I? The most horrible evening of anybody's life, I should imagine.
The most horrible. Oh, no. The most wonderful. Far and away, the most wonderful.